Hi guys, it's Christine. Hopefully you can see me. I'm using an app, I guess, for lack of a better way to describe it, called StreamYard, and it's something that I can use to share my computer with you. And I can also see myself here, and I'm looking pretty rough. Woo! I did bathe today, I swear. So if you guys can see up here, the live in this corner, hello. I can't see names. That's the only thing. So if you connect via StreamYard, I'm going to be able to see your names. If not, I just see Facebook users. So hello, Facebook users out there. So sorry for that. I know it makes it a little impersonal, but I wanted to be able to share my desktop with you because I wanted to talk to you about creating water slides. So we are actually going to apply a water slide to a cup. I will have to hop off screen to actually find the water slide that I'm applying because they were sitting right here and now they're not. So I'll have to find those. But I wanted to share with you a few things that, hi Jen, that I do with my Cricut program. I use Cricut, and I also use a few other things when I'm working with my water slides. Specifically, when I'm working with clear water slide, I typically don't use my Cricut at all because with the Cricut, I'm just pulling out a piece of printable vinyl here. So the Cricut print and cut is great when you need to cut, and my hands are dirty. I've been painting and alcohol inking, so I'm just like a terrible mess here. But this is a piece of Cricut printable vinyl, and I use print and cut on this. So you can see the print and cut cuts out the shapes for me. And it also draws this black box around my images so that it can find. And I'm not sure if the Silhouette does that as well, but this is what the Cricut does. So it will do that on a full sheet of your water slide or your printable vinyl and render the rest of your paper useless. Except for printable vinyl, I could probably print something else down here. But with a water slide, it's a little more difficult because the water slide is going to cut all the way through, whereas the printable vinyl has some backing. I also prefer not to use the print and cut feature on the clear because, well, A, I don't have to, but B, my limits on my Cricut, which they used to be like 6.25 by 9.25, but I did notice, and I don't have it, the one I cut earlier, I take it out of the garbage. I'm a garbage picker. Look at this big black box. That's way bigger, I think, because this is an 8.5 by 11, and I feel like that did cut larger. So maybe they're working on expanding those limits. So I'm kind of jumping around there for a second. So let's kind of refocus here. So when using your Cricut to do print and cut, you're limited by the black box. So when you are using print and cut, which I highly recommend that you use if you're using a white water slide, the Cricut will cut around the shape of your water slide image. If you're using clear water slide, that isn't really necessary because the edges of your image are going to disappear on your cup. So we're actually going to apply clear on this. And I think I put for the event that I created, I posted a picture of the cup that I'm actually doing. It's a Whalen Dermatology logo. They ordered some more cups, and that's what I had ready to go, water slides ready to apply. So they're actually just cut in rectangles out of clear, but it'll look like those, the text is actually printed right on the cup because that rectangle will disappear. So that's sort of going from A to Z very quickly, but let's talk about actually making those things. So let me show you the water slide paper that I've currently been using is this one. It's, I get it on Amazon. I don't know if you can see the name. It's Sunny Scopa. It's not the first one that I bought. The first one, that I ever used. I don't even think it has a name on it, but I saved it. It was, I can't remember the name. It wasn't that it was bad. Somebody just recommended trying this instead, and I did, and I really liked it. So this comes in both clear and white. And one of the things that I like about this particular water slide paper is that it's actually labeled. Hey, Trish.
Hello.
Trish is here.
Hi, guys.
So she's not live with me because I'm sitting in front of my computer and she's in the tumbler room. So the back of this water slide paper actually tells me that it is inkjet clear water slide decal paper. So whoever in this company decided to do that, I love you, because I have a drawer full of printable vinyl, water slide paper, mailing labels, sheets before I got the Dymo 4x6, Dymo 4XL thing. So I have all of this like blank white stuff going on in my drawer, and it gets mixed up pretty easily. So this is what water slide paper looks like. This is clear, and it just kind of looks like a shiny piece of cardstock. So I have an inkjet printer that feeds from the front. So when I put it in, I put it face down, so this printed side up. So it feeds from the front, and then it comes out like this. So what I do is I do my designing, and I, of course, have to run downstairs to my printer because it's in the office, and I pull the drawer out and load it, and then I run back up here and I hit print. So it's kind of a process. I've been trying to decide if I want to invest in my own printer to have up here. And then there's the whole debate on inkjet or laser. Yeah, so the person who just said they just ordered it, I'm really happy with it. Was that Jen? And I apologize, guys. It just says Facebook user. It's just crazy. So I thought that this would be a good thing to use today, but then I feel like it's so impersonal. I'm really happy with this paper. So before we get into designing, let's also talk about sealing. So printable vinyl, the Cricut printable vinyl, which I actually used for the first time probably a month ago. And I was literally in Joann Fabrics texting Emily Doss saying, didn't you say something about printable vinyl? Like, what do I buy? Is it the Silhouette or is it the Cricut? So I ended up getting the Cricut printable vinyl. You don't have to seal that. The water slide you do. So by sealing that, we mean that you spray it with a clear spray paint, just like you would use on your cup. And I'm actually going to hold that thought. I'm going to grab what I use because there's two different types of spray paint that I use. Sorry, I should have had that here. So some people might jump on and say, well, I only use one, and that's okay. This is just what I have found works best for me. So when I first started, I only used this. This is my Rust-Oleum 2x Ultra Cover Matte Clear. We've had some debate, doesn't matter if it's matte or gloss. Most people will say no, it's just my personal preference. But when I first started with water slide, I wasn't getting a good seal. Like when I would put it in water, sometimes the ink was kind of breaking up. And Amelia turned me on to this stuff. This is called Plastidip, and this is the Glossifier. This is the Fade Buster UV protection. Provides gloss UV protection on Plastidip coated items. So this stuff I also use. Now, some people will only use this. But see, in my mind, I'm frugal. And this is like $7 or $8 a can. And this is like $4. So my magic number of layers is 4. I used to use 4 of this, and I've heard some people use 4 of this. So in my brain, I said, okay. Oh, I should also say some people said that when they used this on their final layer that they were getting a little bit of repel from their epoxy. So they said, okay, do your final coat with this. So I said, okay, well, what if I did the first coat with this, the next 2 coats with this, and then the final coat with this? And that has worked really well for me. Now, this is just me, Christine, near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where my room is roughly 70 degrees. I mean, like, there's so many factors that go into what works for one person. I can't guarantee what works for me will work for you, but this is my formula. And Jen said Plastidip was a game changer for her. I can definitely say it has been a consistently good product for me. Like, I had some positives without using it, but then I would every now and then just have a water slide that looked like it fell apart on me. Now, consistently, my water slides, they feel stiffer. They feel more pliable. Like, when I say stiffer, like I feel like they're more workable. They don't feel like they're so fragile that when I try to move them, Plasti Clear. Okay. All right. So you're doing 2 and 2 as well. So very similar. So Jen does alternating, and I do clear, Plasti Clear. So whatever works best for each of us. But I find that it makes the water slide feel a little firmer. Maybe that's a better word. So that when I have to reposition it, then it, so they never, I wouldn't quite describe it as stiff though. Stiff is probably, I would say, I'm trying to think of something real life example of how I could describe how they feel. Like, I have a piece of contact paper here, and I would not say that after using Plastidip, that my water slide is as stiff as this. Wow. What is this? I just lost my word. Magic cover. Oh my God, contact paper. That's bad. This is what quarantine does to your brain. I wouldn't say that my water slide is quite as thick as this, but it definitely compared, maybe it's more like this. This is more like my transfer tape. It just has a little more rigidity to it, but I wouldn't quite call it stiff. It just definitely feels more pliable to me. I have not had an experience where I've put too much on. Where I would caution you is that, yeah, definitely not saran wrap. I feel like it's definitely more, it's more thicker than saran wrap. But so the sealer, I would say, I've never had an issue where I've put too much. I do feel like I am heavy-handed as well. I tend to do 2 directions. So I spray vertical and I spray horizontal, and that's with each coat. One mistake that I did make along the way was that I had cut multiple out of the same sheet, and the first one, it fell apart. So I said, oh shoot, these aren't sealed well enough. And I went back and I sealed ones that were already cut. And you shouldn't seal water slides that you've already cut the edges, because you can end up sealing the edges. Now, I was able to get the backing off, but that is something you have to watch for when you're using the sealer, that you can actually kind of glue the water slide to the backing. So StreamYard is something, I was in another group and I saw a lady that used it. It is just a method for me to be able to share. It puts my my video, and I'm going to be sharing my screen, and so I can do both. I can share my desktop and my video. When I tried to share my desktop with Facebook Live before, I couldn't toggle back and forth, and I found that very frustrating, and I wanted to be able to do both. So StreamYard is just a third-party app. There's, I don't even know if you would call it an app because it's a website. There are free and subscription services. I have the free version. That's why I got to figure out which direction it is. That's why you see this little powered by StreamYard. If I were really savvy, I could put my business logo or the TABTB logo up there, but I'd have to pay money to do that. So yeah, if this doesn't work out for everybody, me using it, I won't use it next time. This is the first time I've used it in this group. I just used it on my personal page before when I did a drawing for a cup that I gave away, and it worked out well. Just something I've picked up in my Facebook Live world. So, okay, so let's talk about doing the designs. I did mention that I am a Cricut user. So if you guys have questions as they pertain to doing things in Cricut Design Space, I can try to help you there. But I did mention to you that I don't always use Cricut Design Space to do my water slides. The other programs that I use typically for water slides, I should say the program, and you can laugh at me, but I actually use Microsoft PowerPoint a lot. I have a corporate day job and I use PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint, which is part of the Office suite if you aren't familiar with it. PowerPoint is a presentation software, but it actually, through multiple versions, there are a lot of really nice graphic design, very basic graphic design, I should say, capabilities within PowerPoint, like cropping images and even slicing and Trisha is over there sitting in a chair. She is not hanging out with me at the moment. So I do use PowerPoint. And that is the reason why I personally do that, is so that I can print a full sheet. I try to maximize. You can get A4 size, but I get the 8.5 by 11. And what I try to do when I'm printing my water slides is maximize my surface area or my real estate. So because you're going to be cutting this, you can't feed it into your printer once you've started cutting it out. So what I'll do, and I actually, since I'm sitting at my desk, I can dig in my drawer here. So I have this little pouch. I think it's like a coupon pouch. Okay, so you use Microsoft Word. I've heard that a lot as well. I'm actually more comfortable with PowerPoint. I find Word, yeah, I'm just more comfortable. They have a lot of the same features though, so I've actually heard that a lot. But I have this little like coupon keeper, for lack of a better, just like this little mini accordion file. So what I do is if I have water slides to print out, like I did when I did the original Whalen dermatology cups, knowing the family that I was doing them for, the Whalens, I'm like, I know I'm going to have to do more of these. And I actually cut out extra ones. I filled my page with a couple things that I had, other things that I had to cut. And then I filled the extra space with more. I actually filled them with 4. And sure enough, they ordered 4 more cups. But what I did, or what I do, I should say, is I have a little coupon keeper, and I have them labeled. Like I have South Fayette logos. That's my school, my girls' school, I should say. And I cut out extra ones. I print out extra ones, I should say. I've got some animals. Yes, I know a butterfly is probably considered not an animal. I've got a section for flowers. I've got miscellaneous. I've got sports. I've got logos. I mean, like I just have just a couple different sections here where I put extra water slides. And my whole point in this is that you have 8.5 inches by 11 of space to work with. And you may only need a water slide that's like 2.5 by 3 inches. Rather than trying to jam up your printer and reprint on that same sheet of water slide, I just make multiples and I fill it up with things that I think I'm going to use. So I see a question there that says, like how? I'm not sure. I apologize. I didn't see that pop up. So I don't know what that means. Like how what? So Emily uses Silhouette in Illustrator. I do not have Adobe Illustrator. I actually have a free graphic design program called Inkscape. Inkscape is not something that I use a lot, although I am trying to learn more about it. I've been doing some in my spare time. I've been doing some tutorials online. It has a lot of the same features as Adobe Illustrator, um, but it's a little bit above my capability right now. I tend, coming from the Cricut world, and that's something I've heard. I have not yet downloaded the Cricut Silhouette software. Wow, I just realized I have alcohol ink like way down on my finger now. That's going to be hard to get out. Is the Silhouette software is not quite as user friendly as the Cricut Design Space, and like Emily, you've tried Inkscape before, so it's Design Space is literally like point and click. Yes, I agree, Kim. It is a lot of wasted paper. So the only time I'm using Design Space for my water slides is when I'm using white water slide. So if we want to kind of do a comparison right now, like the difference between clear and white for anybody on here that is new to using water slide, clear water slide is exactly what it sounds like. It is perfectly clear and it will disappear on your cup. Therefore, it's only for use on very light surfaces. So I'm using clear on the white here. I'm also reading comments as I'm pointing to this. I would not use clear water slide on this green. If I wanted it to appear, I would need to use white. That just gives it an opaque surface to different, to give it a separation between your glitter or whatever your art medium is and your printed image. So I would debate whether which should you use, printable vinyl or white water slide. I don't know the answer to that. I think that comes down to a personal preference. I had never used printable vinyl and had been using white water slide for some time. And then I started using some printable vinyl, and the fact that you don't have to seal it was awesome. So I really appreciated that. So I've been actually using printable vinyl here a lot more lately, being that it's been raining like crazy. And I do have a little paint booth set up in my closet here, but can't always use it. So, all right. So we've covered the difference between clear and white. We've talked about different programs, but I actually want to go in and show you. That's why I'm actually on the StreamYard. So let's go in and take a look at, let me see if I can do this now. I do this and open up. Give me just 1 second here. Just have to figure out here. I don't want to share my screen. That didn't work. I'm having trouble getting my screen. I did this before, I swear. Let's see. Trish, can you see my
comments?
No, my Cricut Design Space.
No.
So weird. It worked the last time. Give me a second.
Okay.
Now I'm mad. All right. I'm clicking on the thing and it's not sharing my screen. Well, isn't this just peachy?
Rude.
How rude. That's right. Now I could put a banner on it. I'm like literally clicking the icon that says to share the screen. It's just highlighting and it's not actually showing the screen. Oh man. Oh, I'm so frustrated right now. You know, this happened when I did my Scow live. It just like all of a sudden wasn't working for me. All right, how's that? Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
I was waiting for Trish to tell me she can see my screen. All right, so
Yep, I see it moving.
all right, so I have Cricut Design Space open. Obviously, you can. I'm not going to do a Cricut Design Space tutorial. I can do that. That's just not the point of our live tonight. But I can show you quickly how to turn. Like this is a layered image, so we can turn this into a print and cut. I think. Maybe. Okay. All right, so now this is a print and cut image. So this is what I was talking about. Depending on how large you wanted it, this is on an 8.5 by 11, and it's got this black box around it. So this is going to consume your entire water slide paper. Now, what if you wanted this image to be, cancel this. What if you wanted to use this image and you wanted it to print with other things and it was on clear Waterslide and you wanted to use a different program? What you can do is up here in this corner, you can get rid of your grid and you can do a screen print. Now I'm working on a Mac or a MacBook. So my shortcut is either Command Shift 4 or Command Control Shift 4, depending on how you want to do it. I'm just going to send mine to the clipboard. So that's Command Control Shift 4. And I can snag this image. Oh, shit. Let's get a new one. Give me a second. Sorry, guys. Didn't realize that was open. Thought I had a blank one open. So now I'm going into PowerPoint. I'm clicking on things. Let me see. Make sure you guys can still see this. No, you're still on Design Space. Hold on. Okay. You should be able to see my PowerPoint now. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm sharing it by application because it's a little cleaner that way. So I can then paste that Easter egg into Microsoft PowerPoint. So essentially, I just took an image out of Design Space, and you can do this with images off the internet as well. And I can no longer see your comments here for a second. Let me see. All right, so I can put it in PowerPoint. Now, right now, my slide size is larger than a piece of paper, but I can change that. But then I can resize it here, and I can do multiples or fill it with other images, and then fill my page with additional things. Like if I go picture from file, so I just grabbed another image that I'm just going to put in there. So I can put as many images as I want onto my slide, or as somebody said, they use Microsoft Word. PowerPoint tends to default into landscape. Microsoft Word will have you more in portrait mode. Sorry, I apologize. My daughter's violin teacher is Skyping, and I can hear them screaming downstairs. I hope everything's okay. So I mentioned that you can do some other things in PowerPoint. So you can see, bring this to the front. Hold on. I'm not here to teach you PowerPoint. We can definitely talk in more detail, but if you go to your picture format tab, you have a lot of remove background. You can do some corrections. There's actually, is it this one? No. I found there's actually some new features where you can actually do like slicing features, which is new to the PowerPoint. That wasn't there before. Just can't find it off the top of my head here. So that is some design type stuff. I'm not seeing any questions. Probably just kind of jumping around here. Just wanted to show you things that I personally do. One thing I don't like about PowerPoint, though, is you can't reverse text. Not that that really matters when you're working with Waterslides, but if you're trying to do that for any reason, you have to save it as an image first. So there's that. So that is how I would set up something to print. So let me go ahead and show you about applying Waterslides. So let me remove that. And this is going to be a little awkward because I'm at my desk and I can't go above. Try to make this a little higher. I'm not going to be able to make that very high. So applying Waterslides. So I got this little container at the Dollar Tree, and I typically would run down and get some warm water because this one is cold, but I'm not going to do that because it's annoying for me to leave you guys hanging, and Trish is falling asleep in the chair. But I am going to have to quickly look for the Waterslides that I said that were just here not too long ago. So give me a second. Oh, shoot. Oh, my goodness. My desk is just a mess. Here they are. No, those are my business cards. Oh, my goodness. Where'd they go? guys, this is terrible. I like literally just had them yesterday. Okay, I found them. So these have been printed. Windows has a snipping tool. Yes. So the snipping tool in Windows is very useful. Something that we also have at work that I don't know if it's a free program or not, but it's called Hypersnap. I'm reading this. So you get your images designed, set up, and print directly to the Waterslide paper versus putting the image on the printer glass and then copying. Yes, that is true. I put my Waterslide paper in my printer and print to it, just like you would send a resume document to your printer to print. I design my Waterslides in whatever printer, whatever program I'm using, and then I send it to my printer. And I have my Waterslide paper loaded. And again, I mentioned I have a front-loading inkjet printer. So my paper goes face down, and then it feeds and it curls and comes out right side up. And hello, whoever said hello to me. I can't tell who you are. All of my feed things say Facebook user. So these were actually printed and sealed back when I did the original cups that I showed in the event. I'm just trimming them up because there's no need to have the excess stuff hanging around. Not that it will show, but I figure any excess Waterslide is an opportunity for an air bubble or a crease. Giant pain in the butt is what it is. So I'm just trimming. So yeah, definitely. I mean, these are crisp. This is printed straight to the paper. I'm not sure how well you can see that. So again, these were printed. I let the inkjet, when it comes out of the printer, I let it dry for 5-10 minutes before I spray seal it to make sure that my ink is completely dry. The setting that I use on my particular printer is Specialty Paper Matte. Depending on the printer that you have, I have an HP. So you might have other options. So I'm going to see how I can somehow raise this up. Maybe instead of raising my computer, I'll put my computer back down and then use my little wood thing to actually elevate what I'm doing. That would be smart. See, it takes a few tries, but I'll eventually get it right. There, look at that. Man, okay. You don't need to see the label. So the water's a little murky because I did some Waterslides the other day, and this is the same water. So like I said, I would typically go down and get fresh water. The Waterslides do like warmer water. So laser printer, yes, but you need to have, you need to know which printer you have when you buy your Waterslides. So they make Waterslide for laser and they make Waterslide for inkjet. What I've heard is that you do not have to seal Waterslides that you print out from a laser printer. I do not have a laser printer, so I cannot confirm that. I've also been in random, not chat groups, but I've seen threads where I've seen people say, I have a laser printer and I seal them anyway. I never asked why because I don't have a laser printer. So yeah, check your, I change my print settings to color fine so I get the best output, and change my paper type to specialty matte. So I'm trying to get the best print resolution, and I try to match my paper type so that it knows what I'm printing to. So so Waterslide likes warm, not hot, but warm water, but you can use cooler water. if you're too lazy to go down and get yourself some warm water. But what I do is I actually put my water slide face down, and you're not going to be able to quite see that. And I do it until I see the back start to get saturated, and then I flip it over. And I find that that helps a little bit with curling. In my mind, it does. So, because it's cooler water, it's not going to separate from the back quite as quickly as it would if it were warmer. But the other thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to wet your cup where you're applying it. And I'm actually, you're not going to, I'll just hold it up for you. This is not a big water slide. This is like 1.5 inches by 2.5 inches. So I'll just hold it in front of the camera. Normally I would have, I'll show you what I have while that's. So I have two things that I use to hold my cup. One is a PVC cup holder that I made. And the other is just 2 pool noodles with rubber bands. This I swore I had to have because it was going to solve all of my problems of holding my cup in a lining. And then I needed a second one, and I was too lazy to make a second one. And I saw this somewhere, and I probably use this just as much, if not more, than I use this. So what this does is it holds your cup, keeps it from rolling away. If you don't have, you should definitely do it. Oh, so you will be able to, oh, look, Rhonda, I can see your name. Oh, my paper's curling up. So I'll quit my gabbing. So let me find where I'm going to put this, and you can actually see what I'm doing now. So I'm actually going to use my fingers and wet the space. Now, mine, because I was talking so much, has completely curled off of the backing, but I'm going to kind of press it down. Some people will, shouldn't say some people. I have seen demonstrations where some people do where they pull it off of the backing and apply it, and some people slide it, hence the term water slide. I'll do it a mix of both. Like if I see it start to separate, see if you can see this. I'll just do it like this. This is what you can do to slide. You can literally just hold it down and slide the backing, okay? I need to look at this to center it, obviously, but because I have my cup wet, I can move this around. See, moving it around. The other thing that I use is my handy dandy silicone brush. Once I have, and sorry, I don't think I completed my thought. So sometimes, depending on my design, sometimes I will actually peel it off of the backing and place it. Because of the size of this, I could have very easily done that. But I wanted to show you, if you're trying to keep your water slide somewhat intact, I will actually pull the backing out from behind it. Once I have this pretty centered, aligned where I want it, then I take my, now this is just a silicone brush. I've seen these at the Dollar Tree in the makeup section. And I use it to squeegee out the water, not applying a ton of pressure, just enough to push the water out. Don't want to push too hard or you will move your water slide. Just moving my stuff out of the way here to get this paper towel, dabbing off the water. Once you start squeegeeing out the water, though, you have very limited ability to move it. So that's why you want to make sure all of your adjustments are made before you start squeegeeing. And see how that, I mean, if you really look, you can see the clear, but once you put that under epoxy, ooh, I feel like I am going the wrong way. I need to go this way and turn it this way. Whew, couldn't get that figured out for a second. That clear water slide paper will disappear completely under epoxy. So that's it. That is all there is to applying a water slide. Thank you, Rhonda. I've got 3 more of those that I could do. If you guys would like to sit here and talk to me while I do that, I can try to answer questions for you. If there are any questions. And if there's not questions, I don't have to. I can let you go. It is technically Thursday, but very much a Friday for some of us that have tomorrow off. Trish doesn't have tomorrow off. I'm not trying to make her jealous, I swear. I do have tomorrow off. I'm very much looking forward to not. Hey, Melissa, question. Yes. Hi, Melissa. As I'm like so intently looking at my screen. Okay, we have somebody who wants me to watch apply the others. Okay, so I will go grab my other 3 cups while Melissa's typing her question. So keep typing. I'm sorry. You're fine. I am back. Can you just spray your sealer on it and be done, or do you have to epoxy? Ooh, okay, so I don't know that I know the answer. I don't know. Bye, Rhonda. Thanks for joining. I don't know that I truly know the answer to your question. So according to the direction, this just says that you can apply it on display products, plastic models, candles, soap, furniture, egg crafts, wine bottles, fishing rods, guitars, art for students. You can apply it on ceramics, metals, polished woods, candles, glass. So my logic tells me this was not invented for epoxy tumblers. This was something that has been around probably long before people started putting epoxy on tumblers. I have never used it on anything but an epoxy tumbler. So could you apply this to something and not epoxy it? My guess is yes. How well that would hold up, however, is unknown. So that is something that I would probably test. Maybe take a cheap cup that you have and try it, like when I say cheap cup, like an acrylic cup that you have, apply it, see how it wears. Maybe like a dollar store, Dollar Tree ceramic mug, for example, you could apply one to that. And I'm looking to see if anybody's going to answer this question to see if they've done that. But I do not, I can't tell you from my own experience how well that would work. Okay, so Kim's saying that you can peel it back off. So how long do you wait before you epoxy? I just make sure that it's completely dry. So 10 minutes. Some people, I've seen where it's set overnight, but as long as it is completely dry, and that silicone brush, by squeegeeing the water out, it's really good to go. I mean, like this one, I don't see any wetness. I'm rubbing my hand over it. There's no wrinkles or air bubbles that I have to worry about. Like, I really feel like I could epoxy this probably now. I mean, I won't because I'm going to do the rest of these. What do I use to spray seal it? I use a combination I use my matte clear spray and this Plasti Dip. This Plasti Dip, we call it the game changer. I use a combination just because this stuff's really expensive. And it also, I've read, I have not tried or I've not experienced it, but I've read that this sometimes will repel the epoxy. So I make sure that I top coat. My final coat is this. So I do 1, 2, 3, 4 for my 4 coats. And Jen says she does 1, 2, 1, 2. So I guess I should say 1, 2, 3, 4. But your final coat should be your clear, and your bottom layers can be any combination of the Plasti Dip. When, not what. I'm sorry. I apologize. Is the water side? So when do you use the spray to seal it? So once it comes out of the printer. So once my inkjet printer prints it out, I let it dry for about 10 minutes to make sure that my ink is nice and dry. And then I spray seal it. And I let it dry about 15 minutes in between each layer of my sealer. So it can be kind of a pain in the tush to spray it and wait and spray it and wait. That's what's nice about printable vinyl. So I do that. And then I cut it. I make sure it's nice and dry. If I'm doing a print and cut, you definitely want to make sure your sealer is dry before you put it in your Cricut machine, because you do not want to gunk up your blade. Then all of these extra water slides that I have are all sealed. I won't store an unsealed water slide because they're all cut. Is the water slide usually the last step on an epoxy cup? No, it's actually, so these cups have been, so I'd use the epoxy method to apply the glitter, and then I put a coat of epoxy over the glitter to give myself a nice smooth surface. Now I'm putting the water slide on it, and now I will epoxy over top of that. At least 1, maybe 2 coats. So I do epoxy over top of the water slide. So you do have to put a final coat of epoxy. Yes. You couldn't just use your 2 sprays and be done. I wouldn't recommend that. That's not how I do it. My final coat is always my epoxy. Thanks. Yeah. For those of you who may not have seen this earlier, I cut extra water slides to maximize the use of my water slide paper. And I only have like 5 or 6 categories so far, but I cut extra water slides and I save them. And then sometimes I forget I have them and I print them again, but that's okay. That's just because of my hand. You have to seal it with epoxy once it's on your tumbler, or it will just wash off. Okay. Since they said that you can use the back of my water slide says that you can apply it to a candle. So like, I think if we're talking about a non-tumbler, like you might be able to put water slides on something like that you're not going to be washing. So, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of my water slides on. I lost them again. I am such a mess. Like, literally. Where are they? They're here. I found them. So again, I'm trimming them up. I mean, I could, since they are clear, I could put it on just like this. But like I said, any extra water slide that's hanging out is an opportunity for an air bubble or a crease. If you have a crease in your water slide, it will show under your epoxy. I can grab another cup and show you an example of that, as will a bubble. They're over there. I love clear water slides. They are great. They're perfect for putting over top of white. Beyond that, you're pushing your luck. Cream, ivory, maybe silver. You're going to lose your image if you put it over much darker than that. Now, I also have a live in this group where I used tissue paper. Tissue paper, and I'm talking about, yes, just gift wrap tissue paper. You can also print and apply an image to a tumbler. It is more opaque than clear, but it is not as opaque as white water slide. So that is an option for you. Although I tried to apply tissue paper to a darker cup and failed miserably live on Facebook. Thanks for, huh?
I don't remember that.
That was the sunflower cup that I did in Puzzle Tumblers.
Oh.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
It was bad. It didn't work, and I felt so dumb. All right, so I have a nice spot for my cup. I'm going to put it face down. I'm going to let the backing kind of saturate with water, and then I'm going to flip it over. That helps with the curling. So my backing is saturated, flipping it over, trying to push it flat. Meanwhile, I'm just dipping my fingers, wetting the cup. And you can actually start to see your water slide pulling away from the backing. Now, earlier when I had my first water slide in here and I got up and went and grabbed something and came back, my water slide was like all curled and separated. So it probably takes less than 30 seconds. You can see it's moving. What are you giggling about over there, Trisha?
The delay and your hand motion.
Oh. So since these are all the same cups, trying to get them roughly at the same height. And then I'm using my silicone makeup brush and I'm squeegeeing out the water. And that one is done. Well, I forgot to dab it. Lost my paper towel. Where to put my paper towel? Seriously. Oh, it fell on the floor. Oh my gosh. Okay, that one's done. Whew. Still have a few people on here. I'm just, if you're just joining, I'm just applying. I have 4 of these cups to do. So I've gone through a few things on the live. So if you have any questions, I'm just finishing up the other cups, sticking around to answer any questions that you have. So I'm just squeegeeing out the water again. This is cup number 3. Again, you want to make sure your positioning is pretty good before you start squeegeeing, because once you remove the water from underneath, you don't have that same movability. Now you can peel it off and start over, but who wants to do that? There's that one. So I live in the community of South Fayette, and our colors are green and white. So if you're noticing a trend between my wardrobe and the cups that I'm working on, that would be because a lot of the things in my life are green and white because of schools. And the schools are the South Fayette Lions all the way from elementary through high school. Unlike when I grew up, where we had different elementaries and different, junior highs, well, middle schools now, that, kind of convened at one high school. Nope. South Fayette Elementary, Intermediate, Middle School, High School. So I am surrounded by green and white. Can water slides be found at Hobby Lobby, Joann, etc.? I would say Amazon's definitely the best place to get them. I have seen where somebody said that they, I think somebody said they did get water slide at Hobby Lobby. I've never seen them at Hobby Lobby, but I remember somebody saying their Hobby Lobby had them. I see a question above that I missed. Have you ever reused a water slide? I printed one. The cup was too dark. It didn't show, so I slid it off and put it back on the backing. I've never done that. My worry on that is that there is a little bit of adhesive, I think, in this. But definitely try and let us know, because I've never tried that. But I'm thinking there is some type of adhesive.
I bet you could.
You think you could?
Well, didn't I just move one?
You did. You re-wet it. And so talk about what you did, Trish. What did you do?
Why did I do that, though?
I'm trying to remember. You did something where you took water slide off and then you reapplied it.
Yes. Something wasn't right. It was in position right or something like that. And
what cup was it? We're thinking really hard about this question because Trish did something.
Give me a minute.
She's thinking hard.
I don't remember what the situation was.
I don't either.
You did. Re-wetting it.
I know.
And peeling it off and then repositioning.
You did.
Yeah.
So here's what Trish did. We can't remember exactly the details, but we remember that she didn't like the way a water slide looked on a cup, and she wet it and she peeled it off and she ended up putting it back on the cup.
I know what it was.
What was it?
I know what it was. There was something underneath it, wasn't there? Like giving it like a poke.
I don't know. What cup was it? We can't remember. Okay, somebody has found water slides at Michael's. Oh, you know what? The Spin It brand. Now that you said Michael's, the Spin It brand that Michael's came out with, or not Michael's came out with, but the one that Michael's carries, that whole like epoxy tumbler line. I remember that Spin It brand has their form or their version of water slides. Haven't used them, but they have them. So there's cup number 4. Can't tell you how good they are. If I would say overall the price value might be a little, obviously a 50% off coupon would be fantastic, but I don't know how they would be priced in comparison to what you can get at Amazon. This packet of 20 sheets is about $20. I just remember that because I remember, like, in my brain, roughly a sheet is $1 a sheet. That's why I try to maximize my usage and fill the space. So there you have it. I have putting my water on the ground. I have applied Waterslides to 4 cups. We've talked about print and cut out of Cricut Design Space, limiting you, how you can snag an image out of Design Space. Not that I'm recommending that you steal images, because that's not what the intent of that one was for. But you can snag an image out of Design Space and transfer it over to PowerPoint or Microsoft Word or whatever other program that you use. I have done a live. If we're talking Cricut, I'm sure that we could do another live on other software that I use, because Cricut Design Space is limited on doing offsets and things. I can show you how to do an offset in Design Space, or using another program that I use called Scout. Shortcuts a lot. But that's obviously not for Waterslides. But I can do that another night if you'd like. And trying to think if there's anything else related to Waterslides that I could show you, and I really don't think there is. They're pretty easy. I just noticed that the bottom of this, there was a little crinkle in it, so I'm just smoothing that out. That's something you have to watch on the curve, because this is a curved cup, making sure that it lays flat. So thank you so much. Thank you for joining me. I hope that this whole use of StreamYard, I welcome any feedback on that. If it was too cumbersome, clearly I had trouble sharing my screen at first, but I think when I'm doing things on the computer where I'm sharing my screen, it does work once I get it to actually work. So thanks for joining me, and I look forward to future lives with you. So have a great night. Stay safe. Have a great holiday if you celebrate the holiday this weekend. All right. Bye.